Okay, hi Bruce.
Hi, Coco.
Thank you for joining us today. Let's go straight to the heart of the matter. Let's talk about Institute of HeartMath.
Institute of HeartMath started in 1991, and our mission has always been to understand how stress impacts the human system and how that affects organizations, communities, society as a whole. Part of what inspired me about being part of the Institute 20 years ago was the idea that we wanted to research and really understand at a very refined level exactly what goes on in us human beings when we are under stress. But even more importantly, how we can use the power and intelligence of our heart to get past the stresses of our lives and lead more effective, more fulfilling, more healthy lives.
You have a lot of programs as well at HeartMath.
Over the 20 years, the Institute of HeartMath and then HeartMath LLC, which is the kind of training and technology company that has spun off of the Institute, has developed many programs. Programs for children who are in kindergarten, programs for students in high school, programs for students in college. We have a whole range of programs that include everything from books to workshops to online video-based programs to coaching programs, all designed for different ages, different groupings of people to help them live more effective, more healthy lives by achieving what we call a state of coherence. And coherence, and we've talked about this before, coherence is when things are in sync. When your mind, your heart, your body, your emotions are all aligned and you're able to operate at your best. And nearly every human being has experienced this from time to time. The problem is it's from time to time, and it's not repeatable and it's not consistent for most of us because stress is overwhelming for most of us. So at HeartMath we design programs and very simple techniques and very simple technologies designed to help people become more consistently, repeatedly effective and balanced and fulfilled in their lives.
Also develop several techniques and tools, practical tools that people can use to manage their own emotions, such as the free frame and heart lock-in and cut-through techniques. Can you tell us more about those?
Yes, one of the most interesting aspects of HeartMath, I think, and what we hear from others often is that we've created very simple, very practical techniques that you can use when stress is happening, before a potentially stressful event, as a way to recover after a stressful experience. Very simple processes. One of the most effective is something called a heart lock-in. Now the heart lock-in, the basic idea is that most of us in our life, our day is spent focused on our work, our life, our children if we're our parents, the stuff of our lives. We don't typically, most of us, spend a lot of time just appreciating our life or just caring for others or just having compassion for people in Japan right now who are suffering tremendously after the tsunami and the radiation fears. So our view has been that we as human beings need to be trained to live more from our hearts. We know that's a good idea. It sounds right. and yet a practical way to do that is missing for most people. So a heart lock-in is a simple process. You can spend 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes sort of locking into the core of yourself, the part of you that cares, that appreciates life, that has gratitude for life. And so the simple process of a heart lock-in is to focus around our heart, to breathe and kind of stabilize our system through a steady breathing. But then most importantly, to just sort of reflect on the people in our life, the aspects of our life that we feel gratitude for, appreciation for. And to do that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. What we found is that as you do that on a regular basis, not just once a month, but maybe every day or 5 times a week, that builds sort of a new baseline of gratitude in our life. It helps to stabilize unstable emotions that can often happen in times when life feels crazy and chaotic. And so for me personally, over the last 20 years or so, I have done thousands of heart lock-ins, and kind of like mini meditations, but specifically focusing on the positive emotions in my life and trying to build those and sustain those. And what it's given me has been another level of stability through tough, challenging times, more intuition, more sense of resilience when faced with challenging health situations or challenging business situations, bounce back more readily than I used to be able to. So it's provided sort of a foundation of heart and care and compassion that I did not used to have.
HeartMath has also launched another project which is called Global Coherence Initiative. Can you tell us about the mission and about how this project benefits humanity and the planet?
One of the things that originally drew me to Doc Childrey, who is the founder of HeartMath and all the HeartMath systems, was a global vision. So in the background of HeartMath, even as we created businesses and created research methods, was the idea of a global mission. About 3 years ago, we established the Global Coherence Initiative. And the Global Coherence Initiative was envisioned as a way to specifically help in troubling times around the planet, whether there's an earthquake that's happened or a tsunami has happened or a devastating event of any type, a hurricane has happened, and enable people collectively around the planet to send heart, to send care, to send compassion to those situations. I always felt like I wanted to help the world and help the world to get to a more peaceful state. What I see in the Global Coherence Initiative is a way to help individuals take responsibility for themselves first, become more internally coherent first. You know, many of us quote the famous expression, we must be the change we want to see in the world. We have to become peaceful ourselves if we are going to create a more peaceful world. So at the heart of the Global Coherence Initiative is the notion that we can become more internally coherent, more balanced, more peaceful, more loving ourselves. In that process, we can begin to create a more coherent, more balanced, more peaceful, more loving world. So now we have an online community of well over 30,000 people in more than 80 countries. It's become a global movement. And we have a system called the Global Coherence Monitoring System. The first site was established in California at our headquarters. The second site was set up in Saudi Arabia. The third site is now being set up here in the UK in Firle. That site will be actually unveiled in late May of this year, 2011. And then we'll have probably eventually a network of about 12 of these stations around the planet, all of which are monitoring subtle changes in the Earth's magnetic field and trying to determine a link between changes in human consciousness that we as a Global Coherence Initiative are trying to foster. We're trying to help speed the acceleration of human consciousness around the planet through more care, through more heart. This network of sensing stations is set up meanwhile to begin to track and collect data about how the magnetic field of the Earth may be changing in response to human changes, in response to planetary events like earthquakes, hurricanes, etc. So it's a pretty cool idea, it's a pretty inspiring vision, and it's one thing I'm very, very dedicated to and wanting to see happen all over the planet.
Is there anything you would like to add? Do you have any suggestions to people out there who sincerely wants to make a difference in their personal lives and also make a difference in the world? Do you have any suggestions, advice?
There are two things that I would say for people who want to make a difference. Number one is to start with ourselves. We're at a time where there's so much chaos, so much uncertainty, so much acceleration of every aspect of life. It's easy to feel jostled around all the time. It's easy to feel shaken up all the time. And it's easy to not be at our best, to do and say and think and react in ways that kind of shock ourselves. Whoa, why did I say that? Why did I think that? We need to have more compassion for ourselves and for each other. It is a period of great acceleration. A shift is going on. So one of the basic types of advice I would give is let's go easy on ourselves and have more tolerance, more compassion, more care for each other. We're all living with more stress than we want. We're all living at a time when things are happening way beyond our control that are not what we would wish would happen, and yet they are happening. So the more we can act from our heart, be more caring for each other, have more genuine compassion for each other, have more tolerance for each other. I think one of the things that has been most moving to me about the vision of HeartMath has been the idea that if we look at the sources of human conflict, whether that's in an educational system, between countries, in social systems, whatever the area of conflict may be, it's usually because people have very embedded opinions or dogmas that they cannot get past. To me, if we are going to ever get past opinions and dogmas and hardened views, it will come from the level of the heart, not from the level of the mind. People of varying religions, varying political views, the way they can connect is at the level of the heart, not at the level of the mind. So to me, this is a time in our planet's history when the heart needs to come first. So for the individual, that means doing it ourselves, caring more for ourselves, caring more for the person we see on the street, the person that we work next to in our company, the person that we sleep next to in our home. More care, more compassion, more tolerance. So that's the main thing I would say. Contribution HeartMath is making is to create technologies to help people live in a more balanced way, and a more reflective and a more caring way. So I say the main thing is the expression "follow your heart" really does make sense. It really is intelligent, and it's what I would really recommend to people. Follow your heart.
Thank you so much, Bruce, for sharing. Mahalo from my heart.
Mahalo.